Peering into the abyssal fabric of space, the quantum fluctuation detector emitted a sharp beep. Its tiny green display flashed a reading of precisely 27,913.88 on the Garbanzo scale. This was, of course, utterly meaningless. Or rather, it would have been, had anyone been watching. The device sat neglected in the dusty basement laboratory of Professor Wendell Tungsten, who had invented it entirely by accident while attempting to revolutionize egg boiling. He had since lost interest, having moved on to perfecting self-ironing trousers. But this particular reading coincided, with uncanny precision, with the exact moment an impossibly ancient and unfathomably powerful alien civilization realized they had made a catastrophic miscalculation in their understanding of the universe. And it was all because of a sneeze. No one was more oblivious to this cosmic blunder than Dr. Elenina Merriweather, who at that very instant was slogging through ankle-deep mud in Wellington boots, cursing both the unrelenting rain and her life choices. 27 years of medical training, she muttered bitterly, adjusting the sodden scarf around her neck. And I'm making house calls in a deluge, to attend to old Mrs. Pemberley, who remains convinced her arthritis is the result of an alien parasite. The storm lashed at her, as though conspiring with fate to amplify her irritation. Dr. Merriweather, 53, bore laugh lines that contradicted her generally serious demeanor. Her gray hair was bundled in a no-nonsense bun, and her calloused hands carried the silent testimonies of thousands of patients treated with precision and care. The stethoscope bouncing against her rain-soaked coat seemed almost mocking compared to the advanced equipment she once wielded at Cambridge Medical Research. What Dr. Merriweather couldn't possibly know was that the universe, ever fond of cosmic irony, had selected her to solve a medical mystery that would baffle the greatest minds across 17 galaxies. The cottage finally appeared, a charming, if slightly lopsided structure, its smoke curling lazily from the chimney, surrounded by a garden that appeared to have been designed by someone with a borderline unhealthy affection for gnomes. Elenina knocked. She expected Mrs. Pemberley's cheery face, but instead, the door swung open to reveal a tall, harried man in a rumpled suit. His disheveled hair seemed actively trying to escape his scalp. "Oh, thank goodness you're here," he exhaled. "You're the doctor? I'm Thomas Pemberley, Margaret's son. There's been a situation." "A situation?" Elenina repeated, raising an eyebrow. Thomas glanced nervously over his shoulder and lowered his voice. "It's best if you see for yourself. This isn't exactly conventional." As she stepped inside and shed her drenched coat and boots, a strange sound greeted her. A mixture of clicks, whistles, and guttural gurgles, like someone trying. Thomas whispered in her ear as she unpacked her bag. "His ship's clo." "Remarkable," Elenina murmured as she carefully examined the alien's unfamiliar anatomy. "Your physiology is unlike ours, but this does resemble our common cold." "You mentioned nanobots?" she asked. "Yes," croaked the Emperor. "Our immune systems are fully automated. We eradicated disease millennia ago, but not this. And you came here for help because—" The Emperor sniffled. "Your species is legendary across the stars for surviving despite constant exposure to disease. Where others perish, you persist." Elenina blinked. "We're famous for being persistently ill?" "Indeed. A marvel of biological stubbornness." Her professional pride bristled slightly at being called primitive, but she refocused. "Well, I believe what you need is rest, fluids, and symptom management." She handed him a small packet of tablets. "These contain no nanotechnology?" he asked, incredulous. "No," she replied dryly. "Just plain old-fashioned chemistry." "Fascinating," the Emperor murmured, as though witnessing ancient magic. He gazed around at the floral wallpaper, the porcelain cats, and the slightly lopsided Afghan on the couch. You live surrounded by countless pathogens, defended only by crude compounds, and yet you thrive. We manage, Elenina said. With great solemnity, the Emperor swallowed the pills, as if performing a sacred rite. Moments later, his eyes widened in surprise. The pressure in my cranial cavity, it has already begun to lessen. Excellent, Elenina smiled. We call that paracetamol. The rain had slowed to a drizzle outside, tapping rhythmically against the cottage windows. Mrs. Pemberley busied herself making another pot of her, medically sound, chicken soup, while Dr. Merriweather reviewed her notes, with increasing bewilderment. The Emperor lay resting beneath a knitted afghan, his breathing steadier, though occasional sneezes still sent faint pulses of static through the room's electronics. Thomas perched anxiously on the arm of an armchair. "So what now?" he whispered. Dr. Merriweather sighed. "Now, we hope his immune system, or ours, rather, can handle the rest. But won't the British government, or NASA, or MI6 want to know about this? I'm fairly certain someone will eventually come knocking," she said grimly. "But for now, the priority is stabilizing him." The Emperor stirred, opening his large, glassy eyes. "Earth Healer," he rasped, "I am most grateful for your intervention. Your primitive compounds have exceeded our most optimistic projections." "You're welcome," she replied, still trying to reconcile the absurdity of her patient's identity. Suddenly, a rhythmic beeping emanated from the Emperor's ornate wrist device. The holographic projection flared into the air, a swirling emblem of the Arcturian hegemony. An urgent voice crackled through. "Supreme Ruler, your disappearance has caused great unrest. The High Council demands your immediate return." The Emperor winced. "The plague still ravage." The cloaked spacecraft, previously invisible, now shimmered faintly beneath the moonlight, like heat waves rising from a summer road. Dr. Merriweather, Thomas, and Mrs. Pemberley stood at the pond's edge, staring in quiet awe. The Emperor approached them, already looking much improved. "I have transmitted your remedy across our fleet," he said. "Soon, countless lives will be spared thanks to your remarkable chemistry." He extended a small crystalline vial toward Dr. Merriweather. "A token of gratitude. Arcturian Medical Archive, 9 millennia of advanced medical knowledge. Perhaps you may find it useful." Elenina accepted the vial, feeling the weight of its significance. "Thank you, Your Majesty." The Emperor smiled faintly. "I suspect we will meet again, Earth Healer. Your species' resilience is most instructive." The ramp of his ship extended silently. He turned, pausing one last time. "Oh, and please tell your elder matron that her chicken soup may be the most effective pangalactic antiviral ever discovered." With that, the Emperor ascended, disappearing into the ship. Moments later, with a low hum, the vessel shimmered and vanished into the stars. Thomas exhaled. "I don't think anyone will believe us." "Perhaps that's for the best," Dr. Merriweather said softly, gazing out the window into the night sky. "But you know, Thomas, I have a feeling this won't be my last unusual house call." Mrs. Pemberley placed a fresh cup of tea into Elenina's hands. "Now, dear, do you think I should start bottling my chicken soup? Sounds like there's quite a market out there." Elenina smiled. "You may have just saved an empire, Mrs. Pemberley. But yes, perhaps we should test the recipe first." Dr. Elenina Merriweather sat at her old desk, the same one she left behind when she chose a quiet rural life. The vial of Arcturian Medical Archives glowed faintly beside her laptop. She had returned to consult with her former colleagues, though of course, she couldn't exactly tell them the full truth. Professor Aldous Granger, her former supervisor, and a man with the permanent look of someone who smelled something odd, squinted at the swirling data projected by the vial's interface. Incredible, he whispered. This archive contains biological data structures I've never even dreamed of. Nanobots, symbiotic regulators, genetic cascade controllers, full neurological nanosurgeons. This technology could rewrite modern medicine entirely. Elenina sipped her tea, keeping her expression carefully neutral. And yet, Granger continued, their entire civilization was nearly brought down by a cold. Yes, Elenina replied. That's the interesting part. Granger rubbed his temples. We're not ready for this, Elenina. Sharing this with the world could create chaos. I agree, she said softly. That's why I'm not sharing it. Not yet. Granger blinked. You're keeping it secret? For now, she said. I'm not sure humanity is ready for 9th.